Are you an author leveraging the power of email marketing? If not, why not? Today, we're going to talk about email marketing for authors, and I'm going to give you a dead simple action plan to get started right away. Stay tuned. This is Self-Publishing with Dale, where you learn how to publish books that sell and build an unstoppable author brand. Today's episode is brought to you in part by the DIY Publishing Course Unlimited. Get your hands on the most comprehensive coverage of self-publishing to date. With over 355 videos and downloadable resources, you have a vast library of self-publishing resources to keep you on track and headed in the right direction. Visit DIYpublishing.biz/podcast and use the coupon code podcast for 10% off lifetime access to the DIY Publishing course. Again, that's DIYpublishing.biz/podcast. Use that coupon code podcast to get 10% off lifetime access. Today, we are going to talk about one of my favorite things to discuss. And I really didn't know what I was going to discuss in today's podcast until probably about a few students that I spoke to this past week had the same problem. I almost felt like it was Groundhog Day because every time I was talking to someone, I was like, "What, didn't I just talk to you about this?" It's email marketing. And I found it was the similar problem, and every single time. The problem is authors don't want to bother with it. They want to write their content and just collect money. Well, that's good. That's fine. If you want to rely on organic sales, great. If you want to get Amazon ads and drive them that way, that's awesome. But here's the issue with avoiding email marketing. It's that, first of all, let's take email marketing. We'll put it off to the side. The issue with just no email whatsoever is when you're selling through a specific platform, they are not your customers. Yeah, sure, they're your readers, but that transaction happens on whatever platform. It could be Amazon, it could be Barnes & Noble, it could be Apple, it could be wherever you're selling your product at, sans on your own website. This is where we need to build that bridge between ourselves and those customers, so that way they become our customers. Because let's be real, worst case scenario, and I've seen this happen too many frigging times over the past 5 years or so of me being in this business, that someone gets the carpet pulled out from underneath them, they fall and they go, "I don't understand, Amazon was taking care of me, everything was great. They shut down my account. Why? I don't know. They won't tell me. They won't let me get it back open." This happens. You're playing in their game, all right? And we can talk about a whole episode on how Amazon's not your friend or any of these other distribution platforms. They're just a means for you to put your content out and collect revenue. You don't collect any customers. You don't collect readers unless you build that bridge to build that gap or bring that, get it to where you don't have a gap between yourself and those readers. And see, that's why email marketing is so awesome. See, I'm so excited. I don't even know what the heck to say today. So why is email marketing so effective? And is it still, alive and well? Yeah, absolutely. This was a discussion I had with Johnny Andrews quite a bit ago. And he's like, absolutely, email marketing is still working. If it's not working for you or if you tested it out, chances are likely you ain't doing it right. You've probably, got some fundamentals out of place. Maybe you're not understanding how to do it. And you have to become a student of this particular game in order to actually get good at it. But why is it effective? It is direct communication. There's no middleman. When we communicate with our audience via Amazon, we'll just use it as an example, we're giving them our content, whether we're nonfiction or fiction, it's being fulfilled on their platform. So there's a middleman. There's Amazon between us and our readers. If at some point Amazon says, "I don't like you," they can go ahead and cut off that communication and they still keep your readers and customers as their own. So that's why the email marketing it skips Amazon. We don't need to go ahead and publish another book to communicate or deliver content to them. But here's the issue. When it comes to email marketing, why people aren't doing it is a few variety of factors. People are afraid to sell. They think it's too hard. Maybe they had a bad experience. They're like, I don't want to be a spammer, because they think that every email marketer is a spammer. Folks, it's not true. I think you're going to be good. If somebody gives you an email, like if I gave you my email, Dale at Self-Publishing with Dale, I feel pretty confident that you're not going to spam me with information. The same thing is going to hold true for your readers. And I also want you to kind of think about this, folks, when it comes to not selling. Okay, stop, quit it. Listen, if they got on your email list via purchasing a book of some sort, you have a call to action in your book, you sold them already. You already sold them. Okay, so get over that hump of I don't want to sell. Okay, you should do that. Absolutely. Now, should you do it all the time? It remains to be seen. I don't want to overwhelm you with all the details. So today's dead simple action plan is going to be just for those of you out there that are hesitant, that kind of go, oh, I don't want to do it. This is just going to be a way to kind of get you over the first hurdle, getting into this and getting going. So you may want to come back to this podcast and listen to it later on, jot some notes down, or even grab a pen and paper right now. I'll wait. 2, 3, 4. Okay, done waiting over here. All right, so first step is going to be set up a service. Now, a lot of people ask me, like, which email service should I use? Which one I shouldn't? I like MailChimp. It's one of my favorite ones. I'm not going to even give you a referral link because honestly, just use something you're comfortable with. I like MailChimp. There's MailerLite, there's Aweber, there's GetResponse. There's so many different email service providers. Just go with anyone that someone recommends and, works for you. You're going to kind of know. And especially, I want you to think about sticking to a realistic budget. So you shouldn't be getting an email service provider if you're a brand new author making no money. This is one of the nice things about MailChimp is you can actually just get, it free up to about 2,000 subscribers. Now, you don't have as many of the bells and whistles, and some of the things I'm going to kind of tell you about in your simple action plan a little later may not be applicable, but it's going to at least get you started. And there's some other email service providers that will allow like a 14-day or 30-day trial. But either way, dig around, see what's going to work, set a realistic budget. And go from there. Do not. I had to tell a good friend of mine a few years ago, don't use your personal email, much less don't use your Gmail account to communicate. That is not email marketing, and you will get in some serious hot water for doing that. There was, and I'm going to throw somebody under the bus for the first time ever in the history of self-publishing with Dale. I went to this Dayton book conference, and they had a sign up for their email list. The person in charge of this email list was communicating through her personal email, and she started just CCing everybody. Okay, so then when someone was responding, everybody was getting it. So I know I'm going off on a tangent here, folks. Don't use your personal email to send out email services. That is not kosher. It's not cool. You need to invest in your business and do it the right way. Stop being lazy. Get an email service provider. I've given you some recommendations. It's a true story. Next step, create a simple landing page. Now, here's the really cool thing. Landing page, squeeze page, whatever you're going to want to call it. This is going to be the page that people can enter their email and possibly their name if you need it on it. A lot of these email service providers are officially having like simple landing pages. I know MailChimp's got some decent ones. I believe Aweber's got it. GetResponse for sure has some type of landing page. Don't worry about making it fancy. Don't spend hours. In fact, if you spend more than 20 to 30 minutes to whipping together a landing page, you're spending way too long. I just want you to make it super simple because in the next steps, I'm going to tell you, this is all you need. You just need to have that simple landing page, something to send your readers to or your potential subscribers so they can just enter it on in there. Don't make it sexy. You don't need to make it sexy. I'm tired of people trying to like impress their readers. Look, they know what they're going there for because you're going to send them there, so you don't need to have anything overboard. So when it comes down to what you're going to send them for, you'll hear this said a lot. Lead magnet, reader magnet, bribe, all these type of things. I want you to put a pen in that for now because today's episode is going to be focused on the dead simple action plan, and it's on the premise that you are probably not doing email marketing. What I'm just going to say is all you're going to do is offer them a simple promise. A simple promise. It could be, subscribe to my VIP newsletter today and you'll get notifications about future publications and discounts exclusive to email newsletters. And don't need to be real, like you don't need to go overboard. You don't need to have crazy ad copy skills on this one, folks. You just need to kind of just say, hey, subscribe to my email newsletter and I'll keep you up to date on future information. This was a very interesting conversation I had on twitch.tv with some of the live viewers, and we were talking about keeping it simple, and one of the really cool things about keeping it simple versus offering like a reader magnet or a bribe of some sort is the people that don't have the incentive and signed up, those are your diehard fans. Those are your raving fans. They're the most likely to open your emails. They're the most likely to click on the specific hyperlinks that you have, and then the most likely to purchase the products or take action based on whatever the click was sending them to. So this is kind of good news. Will you get thousands upon thousands of subscribers? Possibly not, but you're going to have a solid list. So this is going to be like one of those cases you can take a deep breath. It's okay. You got 12 subscribers. That's 12 very dedicated subscribers. Those are people that really like your stuff because they didn't need to have an incentive. Now, there's nothing wrong with offering a reader magnet or a bribe or anything else like that. By all means, eventually offer that. But I'm giving you permission to skip the reader magnet and just offer a promise. It's that simple. So next step, update your assets with a CTA or a call to action. Now, when I say assets, it could be your books, your ebooks, your audiobooks, your website, wherever you are, social media, put it on in there. Enter that simple hyperlink that goes to that landing page that people can subscribe to. Might I recommend that you put at least some type of a domain or a link shortener of some sort that will send people over to your page, because if you send them like this long, like I think MailChimp's is like EEPURL dot something or other and a bunch of numbers, no one's going to remember that. You need to have something that's recognizable. So for instance, mine could probably be, and this is just random, dalelinks.com/email. Something like that. By the way, I don't know if that's clickable by the, folks. So it's simple. That's what you want. Remember, just remind yourself, you're given permission. It's simple. By the way, if you heard something just kick on, my air conditioning just kicked on. It feels nice because I've got the sun beaming in today, and that feels really wonderful. So forgive me for the terrible audio faux pas. All right, next step you need to do is update your social media and website with a call to action. Kind of said that before, but I think it bears worth in repeating because you're probably busy going, okay, we're going to put it inside the book. We're going to put it at the beginning of the book, and we're going to put it at the end of the book. And you know what? What the heck? We'll put it in the middle. Okay, we're going to put that call to action so that way we can get people over onto this subscriber list. Remember to get your website. And one of the things that I found very successful, still works, are pop-ups. Pop-ups work very, 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 very well. And again, without a reader magnet or a bribe of some sort, people subscribe to that. So highly, highly recommend get a pop-up on your site. And if you're like, oh, I don't like pop-ups, it's okay. It's okay. Because you don't need to like the pop-ups. You are not the subscriber. Put it on there. Trust me. You're going to like it. You're going to appreciate it later on. There are some simple plugins you can do. Some of the email service providers also have some coding that you can actually use. I'll be honest with you, I typically just call Ava. I'm like, Ava, take care of this for me. And she usually just handles it for me. But social media, another just simple one. If you've got a business page or like page of some sort, they actually have a call to action, like a sign up or something like that. You can put that right up there. So just remember, just get this in as many areas as you possibly can. If you got a YouTube channel, better put it on each one of your descriptions so people know that it's there. Next step, add communication to your weekly workflow. Yes, I need you to actually talk to them. I remember so many times before when I was in all these different author groups and they'd be like, I've got 10,000 subscribers. I've got 100,000 subscribers. Oh, that's great. I'm like, what's your open and click-through rate? I don't know. I haven't sent them anything yet. Okay, when did you set up that email list? I set it up a year ago. Oh, that's great, because as soon as you send them email communication, they've already forgotten who you are, and they're going to also either A, unsubscribe, or B, report spam, because they're going to be like, I don't know who this person is. It's like agreeing to something a year ago. Like someone walks up on the sidewalk and like, hey, would you like to join my club? And I'd be like, sure. Year goes by, they come on up, hey, how's it going? I'll be like, stranger danger, step back. You got to remember, regular communication. I really encourage something within your weekly workflow. So for instance, every Tuesday, that's my email newsletter day. I blaze through each one of my email newsletters. I try to figure out everything that I need to, the communication I need to send out. Folks, it's the KISS method. Keep it super simple. Speak to them like they're your friends, because quite frankly, they are. They've invested enough trust in you that they've allowed you to send communication to them via their email address. So be cool. Be a friend. Like, communicate to them like you kind of want to be communicated to, and try to encourage open dialogue. I get some of the best email responses from people. That really makes my day sometimes. And you'll be surprised if you just put that to the test. And here's my next one. I'm going to offer you permission. You got 100% permission. Don't be afraid of selling. They bought your book, right? I know I said this before, but this bears merit in repeating. You need to say, okay, it's okay to sell. Here comes my next book. Build some hype, build some hype, build some hype. Keep building it. And then when it comes, hey, go check out my book. It's officially launched. Why don't you go ahead and grab a copy or two? They've already bought your book. They're going to probably buy another book. If you're a nonfiction author, there's another thing. You've got a book. Let's say that you got a course or a coaching program. It would behoove you. In fact, I implore you that you do tell them what you've got. And I know a lot of people are afraid. They're like, oh, but someone's going to unsubscribe. It's okay. Email subscribers are going to come and go. Some of them, life gets in the way. They're going to probably stop opening. And I'm going to tell you what we do with that here towards the end of the podcast. Just don't be afraid of selling. And every now and then you're going to have some clown who hits spam, which that's inaccurate reporting. I wouldn't really worry about it. If you start getting a ton of spam complaints, you may want to start to reassess how you're communicating with them. But I think if you're being cool, think of it like somebody walking up on a sidewalk. You're passing this person. Don't be weird. Don't beat them up. Don't be like, buy my book. It shouldn't be all weird if you keep a good, active communication. And the next thing is understanding the goal of email marketing, folks. The goal of email marketing, I'm going to go ahead and through each one of these. Regular communication. Why? Because it gets it to where they keep you in front of mind. And let's say you run out of ideas. Tell them. You coming up to next Tuesday when it's time for your email. Hey, I'm sitting down. I'd like to put together an email newsletter for you guys this week. And I got to be honest with you. I don't know what you want. I'm being completely serious. I am dead serious. I put together this email newsletter. Now I'm at a complete loss. And I'm afraid that maybe some of you are going to unsubscribe. You notice that? I'm being authentic. And I'm communicating with them in a real conversation. And when you actually be transparent with them, they're going to really open up to you. Share some things that are relevant within your niche. Your niche. I don't care. You guys get the idea if I ever say niche. Share with them something that's relevant within your niche. You don't have any books to sell? That's okay. Check out this latest video that my buddy Kevin Barry McGuire put out. He's talking about Werebear Shapeshifter Romance. By the way, I don't think Kevin does that. Either way, you're sharing something to where oh, he really does like Werebear Shapeshifter Romance. And they're going to go check out those things you're recommending. So we're, by the way, really good for a ghostwritten fiction brand that I had at one point or another. I just wasn't putting out enough fiction books. So what I would do is I would just kind of curate all of the best fiction books around this specific niche. And they were able to go to the different offers and buy the books. It was kind of cool. So just remember that. Regular communication, by the way, I would just recommend at least weekly. You'll kind of know and maybe even communicate with your email newsletter subscribers, how often you want to hear from me. they'll tell you. They'll tell you what's up. All right. Next thing, goal of email marketing, open. The goal is to get that email to be opened. That is right at the very tippity top. How do you do that? You need to have, good timing is going to be one of them, but the main thing is going to be a good subject line. And Google up good subject lines. You can find some great swipe that you can use for your email campaigns. I found sometimes emojis for some reason get better opens. It's the weirdest thing. But you want to make sure that you're getting them to open. And typically there's like, for instance, on MailChimp, they have like a preview line. And you're allowed to kind of put something in there. Give a good synopsis, because sometimes people will kind of want to know what's inside there. They want to know, okay, what am I going to be dealing with? So make sure you get that subject line kind of dialed in, and as well as like the preview line if that's available through your email service provider. The next thing is you have to get them to open, get inside that email, and get them out of the email as quickly as possible. If you are doing a freaking novel inside an email, you are going to get a ton of drop off. There are some exceptions to the rule. If they really like to have long form copy in there, that's fine. And I'm not saying anything disparaging about this gentleman, but Derek Murphy, one of my favorites on YouTube, dude, he has epic emails. Now, I'm sure he probably measures his email stats, and he probably has great actions. But I would bet it would probably be even better if he were to, or anybody else is doing this, to actually just give a synopsis, get them out of the email, and put them into your world. Put them into your website where you have the long form copy there, where you can embed different affiliate offers or different things like that. Because one of the things I try to tell people is, if you got offers, you got something to sell, get them out of the email and over to some type of a website or landing page of some sort where the offer is, and it can actually have a little bit more exploration. And you can sell them through either video or long form copy or short form copy. Either way, there you go. So we go open, we go click, and of course, sales or your end goal. So not always about sales. You could probably have a video that's talking about your upcoming release. You might have a website with a blog article building some hype around a thing. So it's not always about the sales. It could be about just getting them to consume content elsewhere. So get them into the email, get them to click, go to that specific area and consume. And that could be sales or something else. Next one here, and I promise there's only 2 more points here. You're going to want to make sure that you segment the groups and address them accordingly. You don't want to talk to a longtime subscriber and a person who's opening and consuming your content on the regular the same way you would do somebody brand new to your list. Okay, it's like a conversation. You guys ever been at a party? There's a group of people, everybody's kind of standing around in a circle. They have their drinks in their hands, they're throwing on back, and you try to kind of wedge your way into the conversation. You're part way through and you're trying to piece everything together, but you're not really sure what's up. You're kind of like, yeah. And sometimes you're going to go, well, I'm going to go ahead and peace out here. It's better that this person is put into a circle of people that are just starting a conversation. So that way they know what's going on, and they can start to, you as the person who's kind of the MC of that conversation, you can trust, they can trust and like and know you, versus going into the circle and trying to figure things out. Like, oh, I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to go ahead and unsubscribe. I'm going to leave this circle and I'm going to go find a circle that I can maybe start or get into that I can understand. So segmentation, folks, and this is something that I've really been going deeper when it comes to my email marketing, is segmentation. I try to communicate to each one of the groups in a different ways based on sometimes when they are in the process. So when did they subscribe? The next metric is going to be opens. If they're opening it, great. I'm going to start to communicate with them. If they're clicking, oh my goodness. That means that I've really built some kind of know, like, and trust factor that I can communicate to them way differently than the others. And last but not least, if you have any type of tracking software or knowing that they're purchasing products of yours, you're going to want to really talk to them in a different way. You're going to want to offer them something completely different than that person who's brand new, never opened, never clicked through, never bought anything. So treat all of them so much differently. Segmentation, folks, it's super, super important. Do not take it lightly, because I want you to think about that party, and I want you to put that in yourself into their shoes, and they're just trying to wedge their way into a conversation. You're going to fire hose them with all this stuff. They're going to be going, ugh, I'm ready to get on out of here. Last but not least, it's unfortunate, it does come up, list hygiene. Oh yeah, there's these people again. We go back to the guy who got 10,000 subscribers. Okay, did you get anybody to open on up? Oh yeah, I've got a 5% open rate. What? Well, you've got 10,000. Oh, okay, kudos to you on that one, and you got at least some open rate. But if you've got some people that aren't opening, it's time to say bye-bye. It's time to cut them loose. It's time to just, you got to kind of have that conversation. It's almost like that boyfriend, girlfriend, it's not you, it's me. Actually, it's you. It's really just you, actually. Yeah. You're not opening my emails. And I noticed this. And email service providers, this is one of the nice things, is they actually can track that type of stuff. If they're opening, if they're clicking, and so on. If somebody doesn't open after so long, deuces, you out of here. Bye-bye. I purge them over from my list, and I don't bother with them anymore. You're gone. So, and it's no offense. Life gets in the way. Sometimes people subscribe to it, and I've seen some people that hoard all their emails inside their email inbox. I see you. I know a few of my clients that do this, where they open up their Gmail inbox and there's 3,000 unopened emails. Are you friggin' kidding me? Come on, clear out that clutter. List hygiene addresses those people that hoard. If they're just going to hoard and they're not opening it up and they're waiting for a good day, nah. And here's the thing is, with those email service providers, you're paying for those people to take up space. And the other thing is too, is if they're not opening, the problem is going to the burden's going to fall on you, not just monetarily speaking. It's also going to come through the fact that if you don't have a good open rate at all, most email providers like a Gmail or a Yahoo or so on and so forth are going to start to see your email as potentially spam and toss you into spam folders. So you need to be careful about that and be very mindful that your open rates can really, really make a huge difference. I allow, and this is just personal preference, I allow them up to 3 months with no opens. After 3 months, bye-bye. See ya. And I generally just kind of send out an email to them. Hey, what's up? How's it going? I think life kind of got in the way. And I just kind of unsubscribed you from my list. If this was, done in accidentally and you really do want to be on this list, well, you can go ahead and resubscribe over here. And I'll point them on over there. Simple subject line could be, sorry to see you go. I swear, that one just has an incredible open rate every time. Sorry to see you go. Like, people are like, where am I going? What? Dale, what did I do? Yeah, it happens. It happens, folks. So list hygiene, clean up that list, folks. Just holding on to subscribers for the sake of your ego because of that vanity metric, that's just not a good idea. Get rid of them, cut them loose. I would say at least allow them up to 30 days. 90 days is typically what I shoot for. So, all right, folks, this has been really an exhaustive overview and a longer episode than usual. I anticipate there's probably going to be longer episodes on podcasts because I've been seeing people consuming more content. I want to give a big shout out to my boy, Michael Laron of Author Level Up. He actually shared last week's podcast. Dude, you are so awesome. I saw a huge bump in downloads over the past week from him sharing my past episode. And it was actually about a book marketing, and you want to make sure that you go on back and take a look at that episode. It was actually about Amazon advertising, to be exact. So in closing, if you are still on the fence and you're an author and you really are kind of going, email marketing, not sure if it's for me, folks, look, I've got the next best step. Probably there's a lot of overwhelm and you're not 100% sure what the first real action is going to be. I want you to go and take a look at the DIY publishing course, because inside the advanced content, I talk a little bit more about email marketing. You can learn all about that on a more granular level in the DIY publishing course advanced content. Get all the ins and outs of starting an email marketing as an author when you get access to the DIY publishing course unlimited. Visit DIYpublishing.biz/podcast and use the coupon code podcast for 10% off lifetime access to the DIY publishing course. Again, DIYpublishing.biz/podcast. Don't forget that coupon code podcast for 10% off lifetime access. Hey, this has been a fun episode. I enjoyed talking about it. Subscribe to Self-Publishing with Dale podcast on Apple Podcasts. And do me a favor. I see there's a few reviews. I need a few other reviews. If you could do me the favor, dropping one right there, that would be really awesome. In the meantime, in the between time, this has been Self-Publishing with Dale, and I will talk